Hello students, this is Shweta Roy. This video is for chapter 4, part 1, civics, the role of the state government. In this video, we are going to discuss about functioning of the state government. In this we have subtopics: the union list, the state list, the concurrent list. Then we will discuss about public health, and in this we have subtopics: meaning of health, healthcare in India, positive aspects of healthcare in India. So these are some of the topics which we are going to discuss in this video. India is a vast country. So, it is not possible for central government to take care of the specific needs of people living in different parts of the country. So, beside the central government, we have state level government also. Now, the central government deals with matters related to national importance, whereas the state government's job is to make and implement laws on the subjects that deal with the special need of the state. Here we will discuss about functioning of the state government. As per our constitution, we have three lists which divide the subjects for legislation between the center and the states. Now these lists are the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list. So first we will discuss about the union list. This list includes matters of national importance. Now there are 99 subjects in the union list, which includes defense, forest affairs, finance, armed forces, citizenship, census, shipping and navigation, railways, airways, post and telegraph, currency, banking, atomic energy, etc. So there are total 99 subjects in the union list. Only Union Parliament has the power to make laws on these subjects. Next we have the state list, and this list includes those subjects on which the state governments alone can make laws. Such as law and order, police, public health and sanitation, education, land reform, irrigation, water supply, state transport, agriculture, trade and commerce, etc. So there are 61 subjects in the state list on which the state government alone can make laws. Now these are the subjects on which laws have to be made according to the conditions prevailing in a particular state. Then we have the concurrent list. Now this list includes those subjects on which both the center and the states can make laws. Now this list includes 52 subjects like labor, education, civil and criminal procedures, marriage and divorce, economic planning, price control, electricity, etc. Now these subjects are of common concern and at both the levels of government. But if a law made by a state government on a subject of the concurrent list is inconsistent with the law made by the center on the same subject, the central law will prevail. Like this, the state government can make laws on the subjects which is mentioned in state list, as well as they can make laws on the concurrent list. Now we will learn the functioning of the state government through its involvement in public health. By this you will get sufficient idea about how the state governments deal with other subjects of the state importance. So here you can see the first topic which we have is public health. Now what is the meaning of health? In simple words, health means our ability to remain free from illness and injuries. But health is not concerned with diseases. Now some other factors also affect our physical and mental well-being, and these factors include sanitation, clean drinking water, pollution-free environment, sufficient and nutritious food, proper shelter, and a life without mental strain. So all these aspects are a part of our health. Now the state government is responsible for planning, implementing and monitoring schemes to improve the public health. For this, they set up health centers, hospitals, laboratories for testing, ambulance services, blood banks, etc. In other words, if we say to run such healthcare facilities, health workers, nurses, doctors, and other health professionals are also employed. Now, these people advise, diagnose, and treat illness. Now, we need medicines and medical equipments also for treating the patient. So it is the duty of state government to make arrangement for them. Now in India, the government's effort to improve public health have been focused in the 5-year plans on coordinated planning between the states and the center and on sponsoring various health programs. Now the government expenditure on health is jointly shared by central and the state government. Whatever expenditure will be there, it will be jointly shared by state and central government. So you can see, to run the healthcare, many of the things are needed, and that is the responsibility of state government to plan, implement and arrange all the things. Now we will discuss about the positive aspects of healthcare in India. So India has the largest healthcare services in the world. It consists of 3 licensed medical practitioners per 10,000 of population. Now in the country's medical college, about 15,000 new graduate doctors and 5,000 postgraduate doctors are trained every year. So you can see we have the largest healthcare services in the world. Second is, healthcare facilities have grown substantially over the years. Now primary healthcare centers, the cornerstone of rural healthcare system, have grown tremendously. And the number of hospitals in India has grown from 2,717, which was in 1950, to 11,174 in 1991 and 18,218 in 2000. So you can see the numbers of the healthcare have been growing. Third is, medical tourism and medical outsourcing are the next two big things to happen in India. Now large number of tourists come for treatment. Some of these hospitals are regarded as the best in the world. And many large organizations in US and UK and some other countries outsource their employees' healthcare services to India. Fourth is, India is the 4th producer of medicines in the world. Now, the private pharmaceutical industry receives substantial state patronage for its growth through patent laws, subsidized bulk drugs from public sector companies, and protection from multinational corporations. Fifth is, India is large exporter of medicines. Now we will discuss about the negative aspects of healthcare in India. Now there are rural medical practitioners in almost all major villages, but they cannot treat serious cases. If there is any serious case, that cannot be treated in the by the rural medical practitioners in the village. The people have to travel long distances to see a doctor, and most of the doctors settle in urban areas so that they can make a better living. Now the number of licensed medical practitioners vary from place to place and state to state. Second, in 2006, about 16 infants died per 1,000 of live births. The now number of deaths on account of tuberculosis has stood stationary since independence at 5 lakhs per annum. Now 20 lakh cases of malaria are reported every year, and this figure has not changed much. Now third is simple curable diseases like diarrhea, dysentery, acute respiratory system infections, and asthma. They that also take their toll due to weak public health system and lack of awareness. These are the simple curable diseases. Still, because of the lack of awareness and weak public health care, there is toll. Now, around 0.6 million children die each year from an ordinary illness like diarrhea, which can be simply cured. Now, diarrhea itself can largely be prevented by universal provision of safe drinking water and sanitary conditions. And these deaths can be prevented by timely administration of oral rehydration solution, which is ORS, which is very easily available. Now the Indian Constitution charges the states with raising of the level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of public health. After this also, half of the Indian children do not get adequate food, and because of this they are malnutrition or undernourished. Now, after going through these positive and negative aspects of healthcare, you can understand these aspects of healthcare show a paradox situation in India. Our country has money, knowledge, and people with experience. Still, necessary healthcare services are not available to all. Here you can see health indicators in India. We have data of 2005 and 2006. Now, public and private services. Now, on the basis of ownership, healthcare services in India can be divided into following types, that is public health services and private health services. So first we will discuss about public health services. Public means an activity or service that is meant for all people in country and mainly organized by the government. Now people can demand these services and raise questions about their non-functioning. The Indian Constitution empowers the state with the raising of level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of public health. According to these constitutional provisions, public health is the responsibility of state or the central government. And this means that the resources for public health services will be provided and funded by the government. Actually, it is within this provision of the constitution that the governments, central and state, also encourage and support private initiatives. These public health services are provided by a chain of health centers and hospitals throughout the length and breadth of the country, and most of the rural areas have been provided with PHCs, primary health centers. Now, one of the important goals of healthcare for all is to provide quality healthcare services to all irrespective of people's social or financial status. The poor can seek treatment at the government hospitals at low cost or free of cost. And to ensure this, the central government focuses on coordinating planning with the states and on sponsoring major health programs. These expenditure are jointly shared by central and state governments, and goals and strategies are set through central state government consultations of the Central Council of Health and Family Welfare. States also provide public health services and health education, and some of the important functions of public health care beside the low cost or free treatment for people are preventing the spread of communicable diseases like TB, jaundice, cholera, diarrhea, chickenpox and other. Communicable diseases are the diseases which spread from one person to another in many ways, like through water, through food, air, etc. And if there is absence of control measures, these diseases turns into epidemics and kill many people at the same time. So to control of malaria, dengue, chikungunya requires provision of sanitation and health services, like as ensuring that mosquitoes do not breed on account of garbage on the streets, water coolers, etc. Now we have private health services, and this refers to an activity or service that is organized by an individual or company for its own profit. And private sector today provides a wide range of simple to sophisticated specialty healthcare services. There are large number of doctors who have their own private clinics. Also, the medical college have distributed significantly to growth of the private sector. And registered medical practitioners can be found in even in rural areas also. And there is demand for healthcare, and because of this, medical institutions in private sector in both urban and rural areas are boosted. Now these private institutions range from simple testing laboratories, X-ray, ultrasound centers to super specialty hospitals. Also dispensing chemists, pharmaceutical industries and similar facilities are largely owned by companies or in individuals in the private sectors. Now the efficiency with which the resources are used in these sectors are directly bearing on the cost and quality of services. Now the question is adequate health care available to all? You can see the government and private healthcare services all around you. Also, the private services are increasing and more services are concentrated in the urban areas. For a country like India, which still face mass poverty, the situation needs to be changed radically. We need to maintain social equity and prevent healthcare from becoming an economic business. The expanding role of private sector is not bad development if healthcare costs are kept at affordable rates. But the situation is not like that. The cost of private healthcares are too much. It is very high. Medicines are very expensive. and many people find it difficult to afford private services. They borrow money and fall in the short of debt trap. They take money from others for the medical issues. And we may recall the agricultural scenario in the case of health also. According to some reports, private sector healthcare is involved in various unethical practices. The land and buildings that formerly belonged to trust are being openly sold to private sector companies. The doctors prescribe unnecessary medicines, injections, and even refer the patients to particular diagnostic centers in which they have some kind of interest. That means doctors are taking some kind of interest from the diagnostic centers and they refer that place only. The social responsibility of medical professionals belonging to the private sector seems almost negligible. Nearly 20% of population cannot afford medicines that are required during illness and thereafter. As per the Constitution, citizens have the right to adequate means of livelihood. And for those who are poor, every illness in the family is a cause of great concern because impedes on their livelihood. Poverty causes mental stress and undernourishment. The poor in the India represent a social class who have no adequate means of livelihood. Dirty surroundings, lack of safe water, uh, these are more prone to diseases. And when there is need to invest in the private treatment, this makes their situation even worse. Now, what are the measures for improvement? How can it be improved? So, to improve the public health system in India, we can follow some of the steps. So, public healthcare system should focus on primary care, that includes services like those provided by primary health center and dispensaries and government hospitals. The private system should focus on tertiary care, which includes specialized consultative care and referral services. Also, it may include specialized diagnostic services. Third is, there should be better patient management and cross-country networking for healthcare system. Also, there should be extension of insurance coverage. However, in India, health is much dependent on basic amenities and social conditions of people. Next is, there should be improvement in healthcare, sanitation and quality services, keeping in view an international demand for Indian experts. I hope you all understood all the topics taught in this video. Thank you.